What does it mean to work the way life works? In practice, what do you actually do? Well, this case study is a brief glimpse into how the Climate Action Sprint was born and what I learned by walking my own talk. How, by working with nature's principles and improvising in an entrepreneurial way, responding to a need, spotting a possibility for movement in a system and running with it, we created something entirely new. Something that works. Here's a story of what happened. A frisson of nervous energy licked my spine as we opened the doors to the Zoom room after the summer break. As people tumbled in, all smiles and expectation, my heart sank. I didn't recognize a single face. We were here to pick up where we'd left off, but this was a brand new group. We were all members of the Climate Coaching Alliance, a self-organising global community of leadership coaches and human development practitioners, all trying to figure out how to build a bridge between our professional lives and our looming ecological meltdown. A small political pod had been meeting on a monthly basis to explore how we might bring our skills to the political process, and the upcoming COP26 had become our focus. But before long, there were self-critical rumblings. Here we were, just another talking shop. I knew we'd never figure out the way forward just by talking. We needed to begin somewhere. So let's get started. To build momentum towards action, I suggested a sprint-like process, and I offered to facilitate a pacier weekly gathering in which the group could design ways to bring their leadership coaching skills to the decision makers who would be converging on Glasgow later that year. And it worked. As spring became summer, a random crew of committed strangers managed to collaboratively formulate an ambitious action plan. But when we regrouped after the summer break to implement it, they didn't show up, and I had no idea why. Faced with a brand new group, I had a split-second decision to make: hand over the work of the old group to the new, or reboot. There was really no contest. Reflecting on what happened, I realised that by making COP26 our focus, we'd made the climate crisis distant and abstract, and by definition, impossible to address. Making other people our locus of change, politicians, diplomats, negotiators, ignored the place where deep change begins. With us, with ourselves. In the spirit of action research, I used the next iteration to reset, and I chose Appreciative Inquiry's four-part structure: discover, dream, design, and destiny, as the architecture for the Climate Action Sprint 2.0. The principles of life and living systems are the touchstone for my organisational development work, and Appreciative Inquiry is part of a repertoire of relational processes that I use to centre learning and change through direct encounter with the real world. From the outset, we framed the sprint as a container to support participants' personal development in relation to climate change. We were really clear that there was no pre-packed process, just a simple structure and a place to start. After that, we would be running alongside them. For me, this is what it means to mirror the way nature changes, work in cycles, respond to what we meet, and learn as we go. With the 4 Ds as the development arc, the core design combined a grounding meditation, personal journaling, and listening triads, along with exercises to meet diverse learning styles. This simple yet powerful structure created space to think out loud in community and be gently challenged towards clarity and courage. My co-facilitator and I were also participants, a kind of hybrid stance that allowed us to tune in to the rhythm of the group and design this emergent process on the hoof. Later, one participant wrote to me saying, As a collective, I sense that the sprint allowed us to work together like a natural ecosystem. We slowed down. We responded to where people were at. We stayed in the dream phase for several sessions, using various creative processes to help each person become clearer about their ideal professional direction. We lingered in the design phase long enough for people to identify a behavioral prototype that, in the spirit of a sprint, they could test in the real world. Really practical things like saying no to work at odds with their values, or opening up to a client about their concerns for the earth, or for the future, or for the wider impacts of their work, or designing a new consulting offer, or testing a new process that might redirect their skills towards the work of remaking our civilization and regenerating the natural world. You see, what we do matters. In the shadow of our wicked problems and multiple crises, personal actions like these can seem, well, trivial. But if we're to get unstuck as a species and build a movement of meaningful action where it really counts, in our 9-to-5 work, where our decisions are determining the future of an entire planet, then this is precisely what we need. We need the courage to break our silence and begin the journey of weaving our humanity and the concerns of our hearts into our professional lives. You see, the work we do is never, ever neutral, and collusion can be oh so subtle. As OD practitioners, it's so easy to appropriate the natural world and to use nature as artifact or nature as stage to prolong business as usual, rather than accept our climate and biodiversity emergency as nature's unambiguous and radical challenge to the very purpose of our work and to its systemic consequences. Our profession, like every profession, is at a crossroads, and each of us has a choice. We can hide behind our professional masks and we can collude. Or, if we choose to, we can use our professional skills to cultivate new spaces that support a bottom-up movement for deep change. We can choose to connect our skills to the work of our time and help others to do the same.